I really don't care what happens to her at all. I don't care. Like, everybody they tiptoe around with this social media. But what y'all don't get is that it be real consequence for y'all little flexes, y'all quick flexes for $300 that you need. It be consequences for...
Iman Shumpert just shocked everybody. And honestly, nobody saw this coming. After all the drama, the rumors, and the messy back and forth, he has now reportedly won custody of the children. Yes, you heard that right. And if you thought things were already tense between him and Teyana Taylor, what happened next took everything to another level. Because the moment that news started spreading, Teyana didn't stay quiet. Not this time. She reacted. And people are saying she completely lost control. Now, let's slow this down, because this situation didn't just happen overnight. This is years of love, trust, pain, and hidden problems finally boiling over. And once you really understand what led up to this moment, it hits differently. Because this isn't just about custody. This is about pride, heartbreak, power, and two people who once looked like they had everything, now fighting over what's left.
I really don't care what happens to her at all. I don't care. Like, everybody they tiptoe around with this social media. But what y'all don't get is that it be real consequence for y'all little flexes, y'all quick flexes for $300 that you need. It be consequences for...
Teyana Taylor and Iman Shumpert weren't just any couple. For a long time, they were seen as goals. People loved their energy. They looked real, not fake. They showed love openly, supported each other's careers, and built a family that fans admired. From the outside, everything seemed perfect. Teyana was that strong, creative woman, a singer, dancer, actress, and businesswoman who carried herself with confidence. She wasn't just talented, she worked hard for everything she had, and people respected that. Iman, on the other hand, had his own spotlight, an NBA player with success, fame, and that laid-back personality. He wasn't loud, but he had presence. Together, they balanced each other in a way that felt natural. And then there were their kids. Their family moments felt genuine. The love looked real. It didn't feel like a show. That's why when things started going wrong, people were confused. It didn't match the image everyone believed in. But here's the thing. What we see online is never the full story. Behind closed doors, things were slowly falling apart. At first, it was whispers, small rumors, people talking about tension. Then came the cheating allegations. Stories started coming out, and once that door opened, it didn't close again. Every time it seemed like things might settle down, something new would appear. But what really stood out was Teyana's silence. She didn't rush to social media. She didn't expose everything. Instead, she held things together for as long as she could, and that says a lot. Because staying quiet doesn't mean nothing is wrong. Sometimes it means someone is trying to protect what's left. But even the strongest person has a breaking point, and when she finally stepped away, it wasn't loud, it wasn't messy. She handled it with control. She chose peace, at least on the surface. But what nobody expected was that the real storm hadn't even started yet. Because once the relationship ended, everything changed. What used to be love turned into tension. What used to be support turned into conflict. And slowly, things became more public. Then came the legal battles. At first, it was about money, child support, assets, who gets what, the usual things that come with a split. But behind all of that was something deeper: control. Because when two people separate, especially with children involved, it's no longer just about the past, it's about the future. And now that future has taken a sharp turn. Iman reportedly winning custody didn't just surprise fans, it changed the entire story. Because for a long time, people assumed Teyana would be the primary parent. She was seen as the more present one, the more stable one. So when this news dropped, the reaction was immediate. Confusion, shock, and questions. A lot of questions. What happened behind the scenes? What did the court see that the public didn't? And most importantly, how did Teyana take it? Well, according to reports and online reactions, not well at all. People are saying she didn't just respond, she crashed out. Now, before we jump to conclusions, let's be fair. Losing custody of your children is not something anyone handles easily. That's not just emotional, that's life-changing. That's your heart. So whatever reaction she had, it wasn't coming from nowhere. But here's where things get complicated, because some are saying her reaction may have actually made things worse. There are rumors of heated moments, emotional outbursts, situations where things got intense enough for people to step in. And once those stories started spreading, the internet did what it always does. It picked sides. Some people are defending her, saying she's a mother in pain, that anyone in her position would react strongly, that this is what heartbreak looks like when it reaches its limit. But others are not being as understanding. They're saying this could be the reason the court made that decision in the first place, that maybe there were signs, maybe there were moments that raised concerns, and maybe, just maybe, the situation wasn't as one-sided as fans believed. But here's the twist. Iman is not exactly being painted as perfect either, because while he may have won custody, people haven't forgotten his past. The rumors, the scandals, the accusations, all of that is still there. So now the conversation has shifted. It's no longer just who's right and who's wrong. It's how did it get this bad? How did two people who once looked so strong together end up here? Because let's be honest, custody battles don't just happen, they build over time. Every argument, every disagreement, every moment that goes unresolved, it all adds up. And when it finally explodes, it's never pretty. For Teyana, this moment seems like the breaking point. Everything she held in, everything she stayed quiet about, everything she tried to manage privately, it all came out. And that's what people are calling a crash out. Not just anger, but emotional overload. Because when someone loses control like that, it's not always about the moment, it's about everything leading up to it. And for her, that weight looks heavy. You can feel it. This isn't just about losing a case, it's about feeling like you lost something you can't replace. And that kind of pain changes people. It affects how they think, how they act, how they move forward. For the children, this situation is even more important, because no matter what's happening between the parents, they are the ones in the middle. They didn't choose any of this, and now their lives are shifting too. New routines, new environments, new emotions. And the question becomes, what happens next? Will things calm down, or is this just the beginning of an even bigger battle? Because sometimes winning custody doesn't end the conflict, it can make things more intense. And if emotions are already this high, there's no telling where it could go from here. At the end of the day, this story isn't just about drama, it's about real people going through real things. Love turned into distance, trust turned into doubt, and a family trying to figure out what comes next after everything falls apart. And maybe that's why this situation is hitting so hard, because it reminds people that even the couples who seem perfect are dealing with things we don't see. So now the question is, where do they go from here? Will Teyana find a way to regain control and rebuild? Will Iman step up and prove this decision was the right one? Or will this situation continue to spiral into something even bigger? One thing is clear. This story is far from over, and whatever happens next, people are watching closely.